Maybe it is time to improve your medical presentations, presenting data, design methods, differentiating with animations and colors, using various kind of agendas to guide the audience, and keeping the overview with print overviews like this. Please note that this video is made under the same conditions as we normally have when we prepare medical presentations. I don't use a studio, I don't have studio facilities, and I don't use an art director, nor fancy templates. My focus in these videos is entirely content. Your presentation should be easy to understand and easy to present. Welcome to the modular training system. We will dig into a number of practicalities and how to make it easy for the audience to follow your story and understand your messages, and not least how to make it easy to give the presentation. Between each chapter you will find these divider slides, and please note you can use the techniques immediately. So let's get started. Let's dig into the machinery of slides. That's where you tailor your presentation, your style, and send your signals. It's a rational way to use the slide master. You can save a lot of time. So first, let me give you a basic introduction to the master. A student at one of my courses introduced himself in this way. It was Tom Sander, first page, second page. It was text on top of a white slide. Maybe it could be more colorful with a logo and so on. Let's take a look how that can be arranged. Go to the view, slide master, and in the left pane you have a lot of variations of different slides, and on top the most important slide that actually influences all the slides. Below you have the smaller ones with front page, second page, and so on. But let's start up with this one. I'll just close the master view, and actually Tom, he found this logo from his institute, this one and this line, and he wanted to use those as kind of headings or decorating elements, also telling his affiliation. So I take a copy of that one, open the slide master, go to the top one and insert the logo and the line and adjust. I also adjust the text box so it doesn't jeopardize the logo. That's it. I'll color just for this purpose in this presentation. Now you have the logo in place everywhere, and you have the red font in all the headings. Let's take a look. We'll close the master. Now the slides looks like this, with logo and the line. If we take a look at the first one, this slide, this text box was on top. Let's see if we can integrate it even more into the slides. It's actually a front page. It's ready to fill in text. So I just copy this one or cut it or drag it here. The other information in the subtitle, like like this. The second page, let's open that one and go to layout and look at, it's actually an empty page. Let's use a title page, title and content page instead, this one. Now it's actually difficult to catch the text. So I just mark the area and then I can drag it. It is behind the front text box. I just cut it and insert it here with this function. It's almost ready. I'll just remove spacing and put in the title, Tom's name in the title. Front page, next page. Now, actually I don't like the red color. Let me change it. So I go to the top one. So this, I mark the text and I want to make it the same color as the logo. So I use this eyedropper. Here, one click, and you can see the text has changed, so it fits the layout better in all the slides, like this. And now, if I insert new slide, and that's where you save time, it's ready to use. It could also be with 2 columns, or it could be a blank one only with a title or what. So it's ready to use. And that's where you save time. So his introduction now looks like this. And that's it. The benefit of tailoring the slides is that it's easy to make and you're saving a lot of time. That's one thing. Sometimes it's also mandatory for you to use a specific slide master, maybe at a congress or at a meeting. So there are mandatory templates and you can use the slide master again, save time without making an extra slide set. Let me show how that's done. Same example, Tom Sander, 3 slides. He has been asked to give a presentation at an international congress. So, and he should use this mandatory setup, this look. In the slide master, you have the different variations and copy the top one. Close the master and go back to this presentation. In this presentation, open the slide master, looks like this, and enter the mandatory setup like this. So now you actually have 2 different masters, this one and this one, in the same file. Let's close it. Then take the first page, the front page. You can choose to shift to this design. Second page, same procedure. This design and the third page. So within few seconds, Tom is actually up running. Let's take a look. Introduction, second page, third page. I recommend you test it. You just have one version of the content, no doublets, and you are able to use different formats with different expression styles, eventually mandatory styles that you have to stick to. It's a rational way of working and saving time with the slide master. Please help us. Sometimes we have long or very complex presentations with sub-chapters, could be sub-studies for instance, and we have a core story that we would stick to. We have to guide the audience, avoid confusion, and keep the audience on track. I'll just show you how we can make some kind of agenda lines that can help us. In this example, I've just put up this agenda with a background, hypothesis, and so on. I'll make a copy of this text first. And in my slide master, let me find that view, slide master. In the slide master, go to the top one here, enter my agenda, adjust it to my design, put it in here. Maybe I will make a smaller font and perhaps another color, red, no, gray perhaps, it's a bit discreet. Here it is. Now I have the agenda at the bottom of all my slides. I'll just try to close it down here. So it's here. I'll just put in an extra slide here. Now the agenda is at the bottom of each slide. I'll just enter a few more slides because I need them afterwards. Slide 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these are the different slides. So let me go to the top one. Here on the first slide, I want to use the text background. This one. I'll move it next to the agenda, which is in the slide master. I'll zoom in here and make it red, like this. Smaller font, so it fits. By zooming in, I can actually use smaller increments and it's easier to adjust the text exactly on top of the agenda in the slide master. I'll take a copy of this word, enter it in the second and the third slide, which are the background slides. The next one is the hypothesis slide. I'll just reuse the same word, hypothesis, remove word background, and it's almost there. And this word, this text, copy, enter it in slide number 5. Let's take a look. In the slide sorter and in presentation mode, this was slide number 5. Let's go to 1, background, 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 and then to the hypo, hypo. It's easy done, I would say. I just added an agenda in my own slides here. It fits my design, but it could also have been, for instance, tabs on top. It can be done in so many different ways. It is an effective way of guiding the audience, and as an extra benefit, it is saving space for information in the heading that can actually support your story even more. So it could be a claim, you could use it, statements, summaries in the headings, and not only category or an agenda. That can be helpful for the audience. We know where are we and what is the most important message in just this part of my story. What is the purpose of using animations? Well, it can be helpful. You can guide the audience. You can build up stories with animations and you can simplify your messages. So it's supporting your story. Of course, it can also create attention to some extent. I'll give you a few examples of pros and cons. For instance, should I show all data from start If, for instance, here I have 3 sub-studies, paper 1, 2, and 3, or should I tell my story step by step? I have 3 sub-studies, paper 1, paper 2, paper 3, and give them some extra words. Or I could combine it with labels or nicknames. That can be helpful. The nicknames could be the survey, children, adults. Should there be a reason for using animations? Yes, please. Always. Use it when it makes sense, when it is supporting your story, your messages. The risk is noise. It can be waste of attention. Study design could look like this, with a timeline, icons to tell about parameters, or show details from a complex table in this way. There are a lot of different options, but there are also don'ts. For instance, this animation. First time I used it, I totally lost the audience. And my best recommendation is don't overdo it. Why differentiate? Well, it makes it much easier to understand your messages. You can avoid confusion. Maybe we cannot figure out what was study 1 and study 2 and study 3. Maybe this could be a valuable tool for you to differentiate in style, wording, colors, or whatever. I'll show you some examples. We have the core story here with the substudies 1 and 2. And we can label the substudies with numbers, for instance, or nicknames, children, adults, or maybe with illustrations or pictograms. So when we tell the story, we are using the differentiating parameters this way, with the icons, colors, nicknames, and it's easy for the audience to understand. And slides might look like this. It's a way of differentiating between your sub-studies or sub-stories. So consider if there is a risk of confusion. Could you benefit from differentiation with icons, colors, to make it easier to understand your messages and your presentation? And also, when you consolidate data from various studies, could it be helpful that it was differentiated upfront? Sometimes it can be quite difficult for an audience to read a long or a complex message. These two, easy or quite difficult, that's an entity, it's a unit, and it should be seen at the same time, and it should be linked together. An audience should also be linked together, and a long or a complex message is also an entity. Just change in line shifts can make a difference, like this. 3 entities. Or maybe in headings or front pages, you could mid-align or center the text like this. Could be helpful. So in this way, it may be easier for us to grab a written text. So you have to identify these entities and separate them into parts, into units. Select which part are the most important messages or text bits that you want. And then tailor it, design it, put on colors, make it bold or whatever. This will make it easier to read and easier to understand. so you can tell the story instead of reading out the story. This is an example from Lancet, a heading which is quite difficult to read. We could put it on a presentation as a front page. It would look like this, but it can be done much easier, accessible, easier to read for the audience. I made this copy, cut it into entities, into units. So first of all, we're talking about effectiveness of a program. The program is used to improve survival after this kind of surgery. And at the end we have the method. I just move it down here, make it something separate. So effectiveness of a program, improving survival after this surgery. Let me just change font sizes and style. I could make this bold, for instance. And the surgery method bold. And I would give the method, I would make it less prominent. The minor font, for instance. I could center the text. It's often helpful when it's headlines. Then it would look like this. So let's transfer it to the front page of the presentation. Make a copy, insert, and font color could be light gray, for instance. Then it would look like this. Effectiveness of a program to improve survival after this kind of method. Typical situations where you can use this technique is title slides. It could also be your hypothesis or maybe your aim. Often we read out the entire or write the entire hypo or aim because it's so important. Every word is important. Maybe you can use this technique to make it even easier for us to read it and for the audience to grab the contents. It could also be used when you have citations or quotes, like these ones. I would prefer the lower one. Could be a good method. A good method, that's the entity. I would recommend you now and then to use the black screen. It can be a very effective tool. For instance, if you tell a case story, you are entirely in focus. It's not you and the screen, it's you telling a story. Just press a B on the keyboard or use the remote control, or maybe a W if that fits you better. And maybe the best trick of all, press number, the slide number, and enter to jump within your presentation. Then you don't have to flip through a number of slides. And as one of my students told me, why haven't anybody told me that before? And finally, remember the headings can tell most of the story. Sometimes our slides look like this. Headings are just telling a category. They could look like this, telling most of the story. Problem now is we don't know where are we in our entire story. So we could combine it with an agenda. It could be an agenda line like this one at the bottom of the slide, telling we are now in the hints section of my talk, and I'm telling the story in the heading and with the content of the slide. Or we could put a category on top and still give space for information. Well, that was just another hint. So with these hints, I have finalized Module 2. In Module 3, I discuss how to make snapshots, how to focus even more on what you prioritize highest, and how to handle complexity. And you have the opportunity to have one-to-one sparring tailored according to your needs. So is this just PowerPoint? Yes, and it is on purpose because it is reflecting your work situation. It's standard functionalities. There's no need to download additional programs. It's operational and you can implement it immediately. So with this, thank you for using this training system.